Professor Tim Dyson. I think Tim needs no introduction to demographers all over the world. And maybe during the last 5 decades, he has done immense contribution to Indian demography in particular. And even his books, starting with the historical demography of India, to the most recent book published in 2018, that is about the India's population, the historical population of India, published by Oxford University Press, are very much part of the demographic syllabus in India. And more importantly, Tim was a faculty here and a United Nations consultant at IIPS in 1981. So he was also having a lot of teaching experience in IIPS as well across various other universities there. And most of his time he spent at the London School of Economics. So let me invite Professor Tim Dyson for his talk on these issues regarding the PhD and PDF opportunities for our students. Over to Tim Dyson.
Okay, well, firstly, it's lovely to be at this global meet and to see all your faces. And I can't but help just point a figure at Rajan over there on the top right-hand corner of my screen. Lovely to see you. Anyhow, lovely to see all of you. So when Professor Secker asked me to do this, I said to him that I'm a bit out of touch, and I am a bit out of touch with the situation. So I'm not up to date, but nevertheless, I'll tell you what I can. I think the contributions that you're going to get from Portsmouth and Dundee are going to be contributions that are going to be able to fill out some of the detail in greater depth than I can. Now, I've got a few things to say anyhow. One is that nowadays people often inquire about opportunities for research degrees and postdoctoral fellowships by emailing people in different universities. And I think inevitably that's the way things are going to go. But for the students who are listening to this, what I would suggest you do is that you make your initial email proposal, or the proposal that's attached to the initial email, as short and as focused as you can make it. Because after all, you want to try and catch the attention of whoever it is you're sending it to. So I would make it short and focused. You can always develop it if the exchange goes any further. Now, so far as the UK is concerned, if your area is relatively general, if you're interested in population health or gender or migration, then across the country as a whole, I should think that in almost every university, there would be 1 or 2 individuals who might have an interest in your area. And so it's a question really of searching over a wide variety of institutions to try and find out whether there are indeed those people, and then approach them on an individual basis. Don't send them an email that you're sending to 50 other people. Focus things down to a relatively small number of individuals who may be relevant for your work, and then approach them. In the UK, there are about 130 universities in total. A substantial number of them are newer universities. Institutions such as Portsmouth, such as Derby, Westminster, Manchester Metropolitan, one can go on, who have really arisen in the last 30 or so years. They've grown from previously being other sorts of institutions, such as polytechnics. But nowadays, there's a total of about 130 of these universities. And including the newer ones, I think they're generally of a very good standard. In fact, many of the newer ones are equivalent to some of the older ones. So don't worry too much about name in that context. So search widely and ignore ignore snobbery, or ignore the idea that one place is necessarily so much better than another. In general, I think the quality is reasonably good across the board, whether you're dealing with older or newer institutions. So that's 130 I would try and look at, if you like. Having said that, and it's an important thing to say, who would I single out if I had to? Because I'm sure Professor Secker would require me to try and be a bit more specific. Well, if I was to single out institutions, I would probably start by mentioning the University of Southampton. Because what you have there is quite a large group of people who work in demography and social science and population studies. The department there is intimately related with the field of social statistics. And it's a group. That's the key thing about it. It's a group, people who work basically in the same building. They have teaching at all levels. And most important of all in that context, they have an MSc in demography. And I think it's pretty much the only MSc in demography now taught in the UK, which shows how, I think generally in the English-speaking world, demography as a discipline has diminished over the last 30 or 40 years. Anyhow, they have this MSc. And the reason I mention that is because it provides a relatively broad base, because obviously you've got students who are doing that MSc in demography. And it also involves a number of presumably relatively specialized courses. So if you are undertaking a doctoral research or there as a postdoctoral fellow, you can tap into those courses. And I think that's really very important. In addition, the University of Southampton's department has had a specific interest in South Asia. Professor Sabu Madas and Zoe Matthews are examples of that. And as I'm sure Professor Rajan knows, on Monday, 2 days hence, the demography department at the University of Kerala is conducting a joint webinar with people from the University of Southampton. I think Professor James is actually involved in that webinar, as is P.S. Nair, a dear friend of mine, and Professor Jane Forkingham, who is a past student of mine. So I think Southampton would be, if I had to pick one place, I would pick Southampton as an institution. Secondly, I would mention Oxford. Oxford has an MPhil program, a 2-year MPhil program, and people who do that, they can convert it into a PhD. In addition, Oxford has an Institute of Aging. It has a center which focuses on migration. And more recently, it's been given a large grant which has been used to establish something called the Leverhulme Center for Demographic Science. Now, unfortunately, I think Oxford will be an excellent place to consider if you were interested in postdoctoral studies. It may well be an appropriate place to do a research degree as well, but what it lacks is something which is crucial for me, but which I hasten to add IIPS has, and that is a master's level degree, because I think that really forms the basis for so much that you can do at a higher level, MPhil or PhD, for example. Now, coming to London, London has a huge amount to be said for itself, simply as a place to spend a few years in, because it's a remarkable city, without any doubt. I would mention 4 institutions. The first is probably the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, where I worked for a number of years, and where my mentor, Professor William Brass, also established the field. The School of Hygiene does have a degree, an MSc in demography and health. It has a group of demographers, and they're closely linked to people working in the fields of epidemiology and medical statistics. So I would certainly look at possibilities there. Secondly, there's the LSE, my own institution. It has an MPhil and PhD program, but unfortunately, not too much in a systematic way below that, if I can put it that way. So, for example, there are no longer any specific MSCs in demography or population and development, for example. But the LSE undoubtedly contains some really good academics, many of whom do focus on South Asia. And so they tend to be located a little bit scattered around in the Department of International Development, the Department of Social Policy, and the Department of Economic History. A particular interest, vivid interest, I think, in the Department of Economic History. Elsewhere in London, you would be crazy not to look at University College London and Imperial College London. These are both, certainly in UK terms, and indeed I think in global terms, major world universities. And they both contain scholars, for example, at UCL in the Department of Anthropology and in Imperial College in essentially the area of epidemiology. They've done a huge amount of research, incredibly important research on HIV/AIDS. So I would look at possibilities in both of those institutions. Now, outside of London, there are lots of places. I would look at Manchester. Bina Agarwal, for example, holds a position at Manchester University, and she'd certainly be someone, if I was working in areas of what might be called rural studies, I would certainly want to connect up with Bina. Liverpool, Edinburgh for a long time has had people who've looked at South Asian population studies, particularly Roger and Patricia Jeffrey. And I'd also single out, by the way, the University of Warwick. The University of Warwick is a major institution, a top flight institution, and an individual working there, I've never actually met her, but Bishnu Priya Gupta has been undertaking really excellent research on mortality trends in northern India. And David Arnold also is associated with the University of Warwick. Okay, so I'm coming close to my end. I'm going to mention the University of Cambridge. It used to be a really key place for historical population research. It still has some very good people in that area. But I would mention Cambridge simply because I think it's probably the best university in the world. And it's also a fantastic place to, if you're lucky enough to spend some time there. So I would plump for looking at Cambridge. And they also have the Center for South Asian Studies, which might be a place to try and follow up. So I mentioned Cambridge simply because I think it's the closest thing on earth that there is to heaven. Okay, well, that's about all I've got to say about the UK. And I noticed that the other speakers are from the main English-speaking countries, the US, Canada, Australia, for example. But to anyone who's actually interested in the idea of doing either a research degree or a postgraduate fellowship outside of India, I would say don't forget other places. Don't forget places such as Germany, the Max Planck Institute. Don't forget places like Austria, all the various institutions that Wolfgang Lutz has generated, the Vienna Institute of Demography and so on. Don't forget Ireland, the University College Dublin, a really excellent place. And it's not the only place in the Republic of Ireland that has an interest in South Asia. Scandinavia, Sweden, the Netherlands, and so on. And also don't forget, by the way, English isn't a problem in these places, so that's not a problem. Obviously, a lot of the teaching and a lot of the conversation is in English. And also, I would say, don't forget China. For sure, China's a rising power in the field of demographic research. So I would certainly want to look at places like Fudan and perhaps especially Peking University. And in this context, to conclude, final statement, don't forget IIPS itself, because IIPS is one of the very few institutions globally that has the pyramid. It has teaching at the well, not at the undergraduate level, but it has teaching at the master's level, broad array, including in demography, which I regard as being the special core. And then beyond that, of course, it has the research community. So never forget how lucky you are, because outside of India, the truth is there are few comparable places. That's it.
Thank you, Tim, for that very wonderful ideas to our students. I am sure they are all eagerly listening to that, and they are getting a lot of new thinking and new ideas and about where to go and what to do. Thank you so much for giving us this time. Now let me invite our panelist, Professor Shiva Halli from the University of Manitoba in Canada. Professor Halli is a well-known and also a distinguished alumnus of IIPS. He completed both his certificate course as well as diploma program from IIPS in 1974 to 1976, then went on to do his PhD abroad. And he's also very actively involved in major research projects in India, and he's also trustee of the India Health Action Trust, IHAT, and also earlier the Karnataka Health Promotion Trust, which employed large number of IIPS products. So Dr. Halli, thank you so much joining. So I know it is very early morning at Vancouver, but thank you so much for joining, and over to you, Professor Halli.
Thank you, Shekhar, for inviting me part of this panel. Yes, I agree with you that for the last many years, more than 50 IIPS students are working in our project. Last month, we got another $87 million US from the Gate Foundation to continue our work in UP. Yeah, we will continue to hire IIPS students. We have been very happy with them. Now, coming back to this, the PhD and postdoctoral programs in North America, and particularly in Canada. So I would like to follow the path of Dr. Professor Dyson, whatever he said. I will continue that. In terms of PhD requirements, I've been also sitting some time in the admission committee. So most of the time, what they are looking is, this is the formal, but I can also talk about informal. Yeah, your grade point average, and as well as your letters of recommendations, and of course for IIPS students, the TOEFL exam, that TOEFL or any other English exam which is acceptable for these universities. That's also a requirement. GRE is optional. So even in American universities, GRE is not necessarily the necessary, but it's important. But what they like to know is some writing sample, especially the personal letter in the area of your interest. So if you are not published, but most of the IIPS students, if you have done MPhil, I think you do the thesis. So that you can send a sample chapter, a sample, the piece from that thesis, or you can write your the personal statement indicating, that your research interest and how you are past the program or training, the trajectory is leading to this particular interest. So these are all important things, but most importantly, like Professor Tyson said, you should contact individual professors in that university with whom you would like to work. So that if you can impress one of the professors with whom you would like to work, so that can be very important lead for your admission. But in terms of the funding opportunities, I would say that most of the universities in North America, if you get an admission, you are almost guaranteed some kind of funding. For instance, the tuition fees would be paid, and some stipend, which is may not be that you cannot lead a luxurious life, but it is enough to survive as a student. This like whether in the form of that teaching assistantship or some fellowship from the university. Of course, they're all competitive. So some kind of funding will be guaranteed if you are getting an admission any of these universities. In terms of the, like there are also other fellowships, you can always compete. If you are from IIPS, definitely you can apply for these Commonwealth fellowships if you are applying for Canada. So most of the students also tend to get that Commonwealth fellowship. That can be one of the source of funding for you. In addition to whatever you get from the university, you can also get other fellowships which are very competitive. In Canada, like Professor Dyson was saying, that most of the universities have some kind of a demographers. In case of Canada, as well as I think to some extent America, the demography program is always in the Department of Sociology. However, there are, like Professor Dyson, I would like to highlight some universities, like University of Western Ontario. They are specialized in social demography. That I did my PhD in social demography from the University of Western Ontario. And not only I, but many of my friends during my time, at least 3 students were there from India. So Ashok Madan, again, he was the student of IIPS. KV Rao, again, student of IIPS. They were there. And also there were lots of Indian professors who were from a statistics background. Although it was situated in the Department of Sociology, they used to give degree in social demography. But it was, there were lots of professors with technical background, like Professor Balakrishnan, T.R. Balakrishnan. I think he did his statistics from ISI Calcutta. There were that Professor Rajoltan, like he did a lot of event history analysis. Then there's another 2-3 professors from India, like in the department. They were all with stat background. So when you think about sociology, I don't want to think that you need to do that sociological topics, but there are lots of people in sociology doing quantitative or technical demography. There are also another university which is popular for demography is University of Alberta. So I think Yurudarajan should know that there was one Professor Krishnan who was there for a long time. He is the one who founded this Canadian journal, the Canadian Population Studies. That that was now later on it became the Journal of the Canadian Population Society. There are about more than 200 demographers in Canada who are very actively part of this Canadian Population Society. That Canada also has some French population, that especially the Quebec province. There's a very good university and program, like University of Montreal. They've got a Department of Demography. So even if you are not fluent in French language, most of the professors, they do speak English. And, like they may not require rigorous coursework like English speaking universities. If you have some, publish some papers, you are pretty independent, you can approach some of the professors for doing a PhD in the University of Montreal. But, because I'm in North America, I also would like to share some of, that whatever the information I have regarding American universities. I think if you are an IIPS student, basically interested in technical demography, there are 3 universities that are quite good in technical demography. University of Pennsylvania, University of California, Berkeley, or to some extent Princeton. I think Princeton group, I think, that earlier there was a big group, but I don't know, recently may not be that group. But these three universities are basically more technically oriented. But there are also other programs like University of Michigan, University of Wisconsin, University of Texas. This University of Texas, for instance, they've got many campuses. So most of the campuses also offer a demography program. So for instance, like University of Texas at San Antonio, they've got specialized program in applied demography. So the Texas A&M University, they have got a lot of people working in ethnic demography, the racial demography, what they call. So, University of Texas Austin, they've got some good demographers. So there are lots of universities. These are, some of the things I'm highlighting, but there are lots of universities, University of Maryland. They've got a very good group, including Sonal Desai is there in India most of the time. So University of Maryland has a very good group of demographers. In addition to that, many of the Department of Sociologists, they also have the demography program. So these are very well-known programs. And as I said, most of these universities definitely have the funding. The funding if is one of the most for the students requirement in addition to getting your admission. But I also would like to briefly touch in terms of the postdoctoral fellowships. There are not many postdoctoral fellowship per se, but you can approach many professors who have been active in research. They may have lots of projects. Most of the time, the postdoctoral students are hired on a project basis. And I've seen that many times, you should also follow this PAA announces and ISSP announces these postdoctoral fellowship. Professors who are having, the projects would like to, they're looking for students. But if you are interested in population health, that NIH, that National Institute of Health, has some postdoctoral fellowship. I think they tend to give mostly to the American citizens or immigrants, American immigrants with what they call green card holders. But in Canada also, we have got postdoc. Oh, by the way, in Bell Fellowship in Harvard, that's purely postdoctoral fellowship. Definitely should try. So again, Harvard may not have a strong group in demography, but there are lots of people, that one of the guy, I think he was a student of IIPS. He has been coming to India. In last, whole summer he spent in India. That is Professor Subramaniam, I think James' classmate or James' friend in Harvard. So what I'm trying to tell you is there are many places with demographers, but these are like Professor Dyson, I highlighted some of the universities or programs which are quite, active in demography. But in case of Canada, if you're working on population health, so we have lots of postdoctoral fellowship through Canadian Institute of Health Research, we call CIHR. So that requires that you identified some supervisor, and the supervisor and you together, mostly you, the students, can write a proposal. So once you write your proposal, what you intend to do, that you can definitely apply for this CIHR and NIH. These are formally that announced postdoctoral fellowships, but you can also approach some of the professors. So in addition to that, if there are any questions, I'm definitely happy to answer. But these are the some of the points I wanted to mention. So therefore, happy to answer any questions. Thank you again for inviting me to be part of this panel.
Thank you, Professor Halli, for giving various options available for the students, both in Canada and USA for PhD and postdoctoral fellowships. Now let me move to the third panelist, my friend, Professor Shashindran Pallikadavat. He is also an alumnus of IIPS. He completed his CPS in 1987 and then went on to do his PhD from Australian National University and then joined the University of Southampton. Now he's at the University of Portsmouth in UK and he's a professor of demography and global health. Shashi, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Shekhar. And Thank you, panelists and friends. I think a lot of things I thought I will talk already spoken by Professor Tim Dyson and Professor Halid. So I'll move to some specific things. In the UK, particularly in health-related fields, we have 4 types of PhD. One is the traditional PhD, which is the classic PhD. Then we have a professional doctorate, which is for people who are already working, and then they can do PhD. That's a professional doctorate, mostly for people working in health sector. So we have that kind of a route. And PhD by publication, that's a relatively new PhD route. If you have 4 publications or more, then you can apply for PhD by publication. I know it's not for the new early career researchers. We are aiming that for relatively much more experienced and got 2025 publications. For example, I'm supervising something like 3-4 PhDs by publication, but most of them are working as senior program managers in WHO or UNAIDS, that kind of. But so it's not really for IIPS new students, but I'm just giving you, that particular route. So that's for 1 year. So you should have minimum 4 high impact papers, and the PhD is not really given based on just that 4 papers, but the total profile of the candidate. So that's the option that we have. Then we are launching a new program called Distance Learning PhD. So that's because of the COVID situation, and universities now are changing the way we can offer PhD. So that's we are just going to launch. So these are the 4 PhD routes. So I think, I'm going to, the application procedures and all other things are almost same anywhere. You should have a good proposal, you should have a recommendation letter and all kind of things. So I'm not going to talk about that. But about what I'm going to talk about is where you can get funding and how you can get some information about those kind of things. I think other speakers already mentioned about the university website. So that's the first place you should go and search. Tim Dyson alluded about it. You go and search potential universities and go to their website and see whether they have got a fellowship or PhD scholarship or something like that. The other one for UK is jobs.ac.uk, which is where a lot of PhD and postdoc positions are advertised. So that's one thing. The other one is the British Council website, particularly the Newton Fund. But the problem with now Newton Fund is because the UK slashed a lot of international funding, so that Newton funding may be reduced, but still it's going on. So that's one thing. The other one related to that one is the Commonwealth Scholarship Scheme. I think Professor Shirhali already mentioned about it. So that's still one of the golden routes to PhD, but it's very competitive. I know that I was shortlisted once for Commonwealth Scholarship, and I wrongly sent a mail that time. I want to work with Professor Dyson, and I thought he was in Sussex, but he was not in Sussex. So I lost that shortlisted. This is an era where we're talking about, there was no emails and other things. So each application was very tedious thing to make those days. So the Commonwealth Scholarship is still a very important scheme, and there could be a lot of India-specific ICSSR overseas scholarships, so that could be some source that you might consider. And that's also, Tim Dyson and Shiv Helly mentioned, it's very important to locate potential supervisors from various universities. I think, these days it's not very hard to find who is working where, and you just type, whatever you want to study, and you get people and their emails. And if you write a very short email and very, impressive short email, I get emails and I respond to potential students, and many of them have actually joined through that process. Though it might look quite, simple and not, it's not following an advertisement or anything like that, but it's really a good option. So I think these are the 5-6 methods that I would. There's another one I forgot, is Find a PhD. That's another website, Find a PhD. That's where most of our PhDs are advertised in the UK. So if you go and find a PhD, that's website, jobs.ac.uk. That's the second one. And then university websites and British Council and the India-specific, scholarships that many of you might be already aware of, and the supervisor. So these are the things for PhD. And for postdoctoral fellowships, that's, as I think Professor Shirhalli mentioned about it, there is nothing very specific. It's quite a, it's most unorganized kind of structure about. The British Academy has a postdoctoral program, but it's mostly for British nationals. But if you have done a PhD in the UK, although you're from India or elsewhere, you could still apply for, or if you have worked as a researcher in UK for a period of 1 year, then you can apply for British Academy postdoc. It's a very, very good one. And I think that then economic and ESRC has got some postdoctoral, and NIHR is another, National Institute of Health Research might have some. Now, again, if you are looking for a postdoctoral fellowship after your PhD, again, the best thing is to locate, people who got projects in your area, contacting them. It's not, all these things are not that, you see one advertisement and you get it. It's a, if you want to get a scholarship outside India, it's the key message from me as a person who got a scholarship. It's a over 1 billion population, and the competition to get anything from India is enormous. And the other issues of influence and other things. So you have to be really persistent to, applying, and you will get hundreds of rejections. So, but that constant desire to get either a PhD scholarship or a postdoc. I waited almost 5 years to get a OSAID scholarship, similar to the Commonwealth's scholarship to study my PhD in Australia under Professor John Caldwell. So, I started 95, and by the time I got it was 99. So there is no quick fix to get a scholarship overseas. You may be lucky. In the past, if before internet and all other things, people will say to IIPS director, we want a good student, and director sends names. So those days are gone now. So the beauty of today is that you have information in your hand. So I think, I think one more thing I want to talk about is, go beyond the demography departments. I think that's very key. like I am in health sciences, and Tim Dyson wouldn't know that I'm working in a School of Health Sciences, where there is nothing to do with proper demography. But people always think about Southampton and other places where there is a proper demography. So there are lots of demographers or population scientists working in other universities. So please don't just look at big universities, but we also have lots of UKRI funded projects like MRC, SRC, Gates projects. So we also have projects. So please go beyond demography and beyond the top end universities where, Southampton demography, when you talk about demography, I went to Southampton to work in Southampton University after my work. But for last 20 years, things have changed a lot, and there is lots of emerging new universities, which used to be the pre-92 universities, which our team has talked about, the previous polytechnics. Now they are all emerging, like Coventry University and all of the things. The last thing I want to talk about is that we have lots of UK universities have now centers. Like I have a center called Portsmouth Bravigia Center at the University of Bravigia in Indonesia, where we do collaborative activity research. So if you're planning to do a comparison between India and say, for example, Indonesia or Thailand, those kind of Southeast Asia regional work is also possible. I think I would stop here, Shekhar, and I will be very happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Shashi, for that wonderful presentation and giving a real experience of how to get a PhD fellowship and how to move ahead. Thank you so much. Now, let me invite Professor Tangam Sunil. Professor Sunil has two PhDs. First PhD from IIPS, and then went on to do his PhD at the University of North Texas. And he was working there, University of Texas, till recently. But now currently he is the professor and director of the Institute of Health Disparities at the Department of Public Health in University of Tennessee. So over to Sunil.
Thank you, Dr. Shekhar. I wanted to make a small correction in that introduction. I'm currently at the Department of Public Health and the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. But this is one of the advantages of coming at the end, is that I really don't have to add anything to it. I think most of my earlier panelists have already covered pretty much everything I wanted to say. But I do want to mention a couple of things. That is, when students are trying to apply for PhD program or postdoctoral fellowships, you have to be really clear about what are you selling? Why do if I am the one reviewing, why should I give you a fellowship compared to somebody else? It's just like we are going for shopping. So you have to really make a case as a student. What is it that you have that your application is going to stand out compared to other applicants? And that unique credential could be your technical background, your statistical background. It could be your theoretical training, or you are wanted to explore something that is very unique. So when you write your personal statement, you have to be really clear about, because nowadays everybody knows what is going on around the world. You really don't have to write thousands of or hundreds of snail mails anymore. You are in touch with pretty much all institutions or the contact details at your fingertips. So you know what you are looking for. What are you trying to sell? When I say sell, that what is your unique pursuit for applying to a program. And that has to be clear, irrespective of where you're applying to, whether it is a tier 1 institution or a tier 2 institution. I get at least 10, 15 emails in a given semester from students from abroad, applying for, looking for, but oftentimes I don't see a connection. So that is the second aspect. One, how do you sell yourself? Get the attention of a reviewer. Two, do you have a clear match between the person that you are contacting and what you are interested in, right? So if you are applying to 15, 20 schools with no clear match, when I say matching, the person who does the work, your prospective advisor or a department head, chair of the department, make sure that what you are seeking, what you are trying to do is a clear match with the faculty member in the department. Because if there is no interest, the chances are that you are less likely to be considered for application, admission. At least this is based on my personal experience, is that there should be some form of connection between what you are trying to explore and what this particular faculty member is currently doing, whether directly or indirectly. And you also need to learn a little bit more about the institution and this individual, the faculty member. Nowadays, one of the locations that I generally recommend to my friends and colleagues is that US News and World Report. You can Google it. It gives you all the details about ranking of institutions in the US based on their subdiscipline. Every year, it gives you the ranking, US News and World Report. So that gives you, by subdiscipline, which institutions are ranked higher. And there is one sort of a hidden agenda that going to which is very true in this case, going to a high-ranking institutions will explore a lot more opportunities. And even within the US, here in the US, there is an underlying assumption that in order to land in good jobs, you have to go into high-ranking institutions. When I say high-ranking institutions, some of them Professor Holly mentioned, Michigan, Wisconsin, Berkeley, public institutions, Chapel Hill. There are all some good institutions where demography or population studies or population health is still has some reputation. And as some of you all mentioned, that oftentimes population is embedded within sociology department, which is in some ways it is good because it provides a broader understanding about the sort of questions that we raised. In pure demography, oftentimes we don't get much training in theoretical sociological theories in our training, but embedded within the sociology department provides a broader understanding of population and how we question population challenges, the kind of questions that we ask. It gives you a better understanding and embedded within the broader discipline. I think in terms of applying your applications, I think I would recommend two things. One, what is your unique interest, and how do you link your interest with an individual that you are contacting in your application process? One of the things you may want to think about is you need to take your own time in figuring out institution and individuals. It is not something that you can accomplish in a 6 months interval. You may have to really do some work in terms of figuring out what are the top institutions that provide the resources and actually do the kind of work that you are looking for, and then start contacting them. And I would also recommend that consider joining a program in a fall semester. When I say fall semesters, classes start, academic year goes through from August through May, typically. The beginning of the academic year is August, sometimes it's September, some institutions. Oftentimes tend to have more fellowships or scholarships available in the fall semester. But if you started the spring semester, which usually starts in January, oftentimes don't have a whole lot of scholarships and fellowships. So consider starting your program in the fall. That's the beginning of the academic year, as opposed to in the spring semester, if the institution follows a semester basis, not a quarterly basis. And start thinking ahead of time, identifying institutions and identifying a particular faculty member that relates your interest are two key pieces that I would strongly recommend. One thing that I would also mention about postdoc fellowships, I think Professor Hurley already mentioned, National Institutes of Health, which is one of the leading institutions that provide fellowships. But one of the disadvantages of that is oftentimes they are limited to US citizens or permanent residents. So you may have some challenges in getting NIH fellowships to do your postdoc. But once you get into a PhD program, if you are already admitted to the program, then through your advisor, you may be able to get some fellowships through that advisor, because if he has NIH funding or NSF funding, National Science Foundation funding, you may be able to get into some fellowships. The other thing you may want to think about is there are several foundations, private foundations, provide scholarships. There is a Population Reference Bureau. I was a Population Reference Fellow when I was doing a PhD. You may want to think about PRB, Population Reference Bureau fellowships are available. Then there are other Population Council fellowships that some of you may be already familiar with. You may want to look into. There are other private foundations that are provide postdoctoral and doctoral fellowships for students, particularly from developing countries. So you may want to explore those as well. I'm going to stop here, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil, for emphasizing and highlighting that the need to link or match the interest of the applicant student with the faculty in a particular department when you are applying for that. I think many times our students, maybe with the eagerness to apply in a particular subject, they are not trying to link the faculty's interest with their own interest. Thank you so much. Now we will have the presentation of Dr. Dharmalingam, ICT unit. Please do that. Professor Dharmalingam is the Professor of Sociology in the University of Monash University in Australia. And he was also an alumnus of IIPS and later did his PhD at the Australian National University. ICT unit? Yeah, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Dharma Arunachalam. I am from Monash University, Melbourne, Australia. I would like to begin by thanking the organizers of this conference, in particular Sekhar and Irudayarajan. I would also like to apologize for not being able to join the panel in person this afternoon. Let me go straight into the opportunities here. There are over 40 universities in Australia. Some are considered research intensive, others are considered less research intensive. What this means in practice is that research intensive universities have more PhD scholarships to offer, than the less research intensive universities. So I have listed here about 8 universities that are considered the top group 8 universities in Australia. So if you are looking for PhD opportunities in Australia, these are the universities you will try first. And if you are not successful in any of these universities, then you will move on to, if you like, the less research intensive universities in Australia. So this is the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is that in Australia, there are more opportunities in applied areas like public health, maternal health, sociology, human geography, for instance, than in demography per se. There is only one university in Australia that offers masters and PhDs in demography, and that is the Australian National University. So you really have to open up to be able to do PhDs in applied field if you really are serious about doing PhDs in Australia. The third point I want to touch on is that there are 2 types of scholarships in Australia. The most prominent one, and over 95% of the scholarships available come under the government scholarship scheme, and that's the one you should be applying for. There are very few scholarships that are part of funded projects, and these scholarships are usually supported by a given university, and the competition for these scholarships are even even stronger than for the government scholarships. Now, when it comes to applying for scholarship in Australia, you need to keep in mind that scholarships, it goes without saying, that very competitive. What it means is that you need to be methodical in how you prepare yourself to be highly competitive here. You have to have a first class in your qualifying degree, and if you don't have a first class in your qualifying degree, most universities will not even look at your application. You also have to have completed a thesis as part of your qualifying degree, and that has to be of at least 18,000 words long. Your chances improve significantly if you have 1 or 2 articles published in peer-reviewed international journals. And if you are a first author, the chances are even greater. Even second authorship would certainly help your application. And if you have received any awards or prizes, such as university ranks or scholarships or any other award, then again, your application gets strengthened further. When it comes to preparing the research proposal, you need to make sure that and convince the supervisor that you are familiar with the most relevant theory that is applicable to the project you are proposing, and that your research questions are really interesting and challenging. And thirdly, you really have to show that the methods you propose to answer your research questions are the appropriate method to answer the questions you propose. And if you are applying for a PhD as part of a funded project, you also, in addition, need to show that your project links with and contributes to the broader project. Now, when it comes to applying for a scholarship, these are the 5 suggested steps you might want to take. The first thing, of course, is to prepare a list of universities you would like to pursue. Pick 1 or 2 universities at a time. Look for a potential supervisor whose research interests match your research interest. Send them your CV and research proposal, and ask them to see whether they will be prepared to supervise your work and to support your application. And you just follow steps 1 to 4 until you get someone who is prepared to supervise your work and also support your application. And in terms of postdoc opportunities, unfortunately, there is very limited opportunity here. no university offers any regular postdoc openings. Postdocs are usually built into funded projects, and they are usually again called research fellows rather than postdocs in Australia. And as I said, there are very limited opportunities in postdocs in Australian universities. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write to me, and I will get back to you with whatever I can help you with. Thank you. Bye.
Yes, Professor Dharmalingam was highlighting sometimes we may not find the PDF opportunities as such, but we have to find opportunities which are built in the various projects. And that may be also one good option. Now we have three bright IIPS students who are currently doing their PhD in various universities, sharing their admission and selection experience. First, I have Namrata Ray from the Washington State University in the Department of Sociology. She completed her master's and MPhil from here and joined the PhD program there. Over to Namrata.
Thank you, sir. So firstly, I'd just like to clarify, so I'm affiliated with two departments right now. So I am a PhD student in Department of Sociology, and I'm also a grad student in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics, which also to some extent highlights what demography or studying population studies or biostatistics in IIPS has to offer, because it gives us this tremendous methodical training, which is something that you can completely use to make your case as to why these universities can hire you. And you need to make sure that you clearly highlight whatever your strengths are, especially in your statement of purpose, which I think some of the panelists have already mentioned, because, and whatever I'm saying right now is from the perspective of if you're a master's student and applying for PhD students, PhD fellowships in North American universities, the SOP, or the statement of purpose, is the most important criteria, of course, along with the other components in your application package. But I know the SOP is given a huge weight because that's where you show your strengths, be it your academic background, if you think it was something stellar that you need to highlight, or it can even be your research experience, or at the same time, it can also be what you propose to do for your PhD. It can be anything, but you need to make a very strong case, as I think one of the panelists said, like, what are you really selling? Because one advantage of, especially in US, and I think even in Canada, they will give you a full ride scholarship once they select you. And it's mainly like for 5 years throughout. So if you know what to exactly show, and if you can convince them that, okay, you are, worth giving the funding to, they will very well extend that offer to you. And so also regarding the application thing, just keep one thing in mind is the timeline, because the timeline, especially in US, is very important. The fall semester always starts in August. So by summer, most of the funding decisions are made, like especially when you want that, that scholarship, which means when you cannot wait to end your degree and then start your applications. Then your selection will get delayed by a year. So when you are, say, in your third semester, that's a good time to start because it needs some level of preparation. And also when I talk about starting your application overall, yeah, the first thing I saw a few comments in the chat, you do need a TOEFL here. So that's like, they would even see your TOEFL when they are granting your visa to an extent, because you have to speak English. I'm sorry, but that's how it is here. So TOEFL is a very strict criteria because the grad school, your first application would go through the grad school here. All universities will have a graduate school where they see if you meet the minimum TOEFL criteria or not. So it's usually like 100 in most universities here. So if you take that exam early on, then you know where you stand. Because you know what, if you think you just fell short by a point or two, you can retake it. So, I took it during my master's. I think during my second semester, I was fine. But I was very apprehensive to take the GRE because that time I was not sure if I want to even take it. I was thinking applying to Europe and UK. And I know TV Shekhar sir kind of very much motivated me along the way. But yeah, I would say just go ahead and take your exams, because that is the first step here, because you need to send those scores to the universities you're applying. The second thing is, which I took a lot of time with, is which universities you really want to apply. Because you'll hear a lot of names. There are like these massive giant universities, and then there are also the less known universities. But one thing which I learned after coming here, especially, always go for the R1 universities, especially when you see yourself as a researcher doing well, and you know you will also want funds eventually. So R1 is like this high like research activity criteria here that's very much followed. I mean, I just sent this Wikipedia link because I followed this list when I started sending my applications. So you can then after, I mean, this is like this subset of universities. There are like 150-ish R1 universities. It'll have both the very good ones and the less very good ones. So when I started applying, I kind of made my application a little broad, because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. It includes very good ones. So I know one of the applications I had was for UPenn. I was almost sure I'll get rejected. And UPenn is actually, and I have no shame admitting that, because I mean, it's fine. You're a student, you apply, you get rejected, that's life. So UPenn, I think it's one of the universities in US which actually has a PhD in demography standing. But most universities in US, like especially demography, is housed in sociology, which is fine because sociology is considered the mother discipline, and then you can choose your tracks. You can be an ethnographer. Like I think one of the chats, someone asked about qualitative research. So I know many demographers who do qualitative research, like you actually go out in the field and interview people or do focus groups, however you choose to do. They actually go for the field of ethnography or ethnographic research, as I say. And then you can also choose like the demographic track, like technical demography. You can also choose another, like what we call stratification research. So anyone who studies like poverty and inequality, and I know many in IIPS we do, because I was studying that especially. So yeah, you take like the stratification track. So there are plenty of options, like in short, but make sure what you choose, you highlight that in your statement of purpose, because that comes first. The second is put your CV together and highlight, especially when you are enrolling in your PhD. Yes, academics do matter to an extent, because they will see if you meet the first basic criteria, like just have a good grade, and just make sure you tailor your resume in a way that you can highlight your strengths and maybe kind of hide your weaknesses. It's good to be honest, but don't just throw it out there. And the third thing is academic recommendations. So every university, so when you actually send your application, they will have most universities will have a guideline, like we'd like to see applicants' research potential, or we'd like to see applicants' academic potential. It can be anything. So make sure when you apply, you go through the website and there are specific requirements, and you can convey that requirement to whoever your academic referees will be. Because some universities are more like they want to know about the students' research skills. So in those cases, your research skills should be highlighted. And in some cases, it's more like your academic coursework in the past, your undergrad, your master's, whatever you did. So, you need to just make sure that you highlight what's required. And yes, you cannot have just one application for all universities. Never do that, because every university is different and every university has a customized list of requirements. So make sure you put those points when you prepare your application. And just this last thing, which I always did and which was super useful, when you go through or when you have selected your specific universities, every university has like faculty members with whom maybe you think who is a person you like to work with. Just make sure you write that explicitly in your SOP, in like toward the ending paragraphs, like, hey, I would like to work with Professor ABC because of his or her interest and so on, so that aligns or matches with my interest level. Because that's when the committee who's evaluating your application will know, okay, this person has taken at least some initiative to go beyond, the general process, and is kind of boiling down to more specific strengths of the department as well. So yeah, these are like some of the broad pointers I had, but feel free. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Namrata. Now we have Sushrima Gan from University of Dundee in Scotland. She completed her MPhil from IIPS. Sushrima. Sushrima?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
So good evening, very good evening, everybody. And so I am Shushma, and I've completed an MPhil in biostatistics and epidemiology. I was one of those lucky ones who were in the first batch of biostatistics for MPhil. So at present, I am working as a PhD student in the University of Dundee, Scotland. And this is a beautiful picture of the city, which I portray here, taken by me from the university. So in very short, I would say everybody has covered very well what UK universities want, and Professor Tim Dyson and S. Pallikawat has mentioned all the funding opportunities like the NIHR and the different medical schools that offer you all the positions in biostatistics and demography. So as a student, I would like to share with you what exactly an interviewer would want in you when they are taking your interview. So the most important thing, as Namrata mentioned, in US is the SOP. I think equally important in the UK is your CV, because most of the questions that they are going to ask you for your interview are going to be from your CV. And since this is the IIPS Global Meet, so I thought I'll just summarize the whole thing in the IIPS short forms. So the first I would be integrity. That is, they want you to be very, very honest with what you know and what you don't know. So you cannot write a lot of things in your CV which you are not good at, because it just takes like a split of a second for an interviewer to catch that you are making it up. Okay, so make sure you are very, very honest with what you are writing in your CV. Next is identity. So like Professor Sunil mentioned, like you should really boil down a very, very focused area of research which you want to work in, so that the professor who is hiring you, they know exactly that what you're interested in, what your interest area is, and they know exactly that you're the right person for their department, because UK fundings are very, very different. They have project-based funding. So the department which I work in, I was enrolled in PhD in 2018. And since 2018 and now in 21, they haven't hired any more PhD students. So their funding opportunities are very, very focused on projects that they get. I know this year they are getting a lot of projects in the University of Dundee, and they will be hiring a lot of PhD students. So one thing very important in the UK is it's hard to get scholarship, full scholarship in master's programs and MPhil programs. And it's very expensive for an individual student from India, a country like India, to self-fund. I'm sure many of you can afford that, but it's easier to get a funding in PhD programs. So you should, since you are already enrolled in at least a master's program when you're coming to IIPS or even higher, so make sure you target for something higher like PhD or a postdoc abroad, so that you secure good funding. Next, the P is for publication. So I think IIPS really helps you in molding you into having good publication skills. But one thing you have to keep in mind is you do not have to have a lot of publications, but definitely having one good publication pushes you through the others who are sitting in the line for getting admitted in the PhD program. So 1 or 2 publications in very good journals is more than enough for your recruiters to understand that what your area is and how good you are. And the last one, not the least for sure, is the S, that stands for software skills. Again, here, I would say IIPS is really doing a very good job in teaching you all softwares. And then what you have to do from there is choose any one and be excellent in it, very good at it. Especially as a demographer or a biostatistician, you have to have good software skills. And I would recommend personally I know a lot of, especially when I was back in India, we have a soft corner for softwares like SAS. But let me tell you, SAS is a paid software, and it's not hard to survive with softwares like SAS later on. It's better to choose open source softwares like R or Python. I'm sure you guys are doing a great job with Stata as well. But in case you land up in a university or a job where they have not subscribed or they do not buy the SAS or the Stata software, you might end up in great trouble in, shifting yourself from one software to another. So make sure you know one software and you know it very well, and make sure like it's better to have an open-ended software. And I think IIPS offers you like many opportunities of presenting your work. You have to be very good at your presentation skills, and we have a lot of discussions in IIPS, and where you have people all across the hall challenging you. I think that is very important, because every step you take abroad in explaining your work, even to your supervisor, they will always speak to you with a presentation. So make sure you have developed your communication skills, and there is no competition with your classmates, but the competition is always with yourself the last time you presented your work. So I think I'll finish here in very short, and I would like to especially thank Professor T.V. Shekhar and all the organizers for inviting all of us. It was great participating. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sushrima. Now we have Mr. Rishabh Tyagi. He completed his MPhil from here last year. Now he's a PhD, working for his PhD at the Max Planck Institute of Demographic Research in Labor Demographics. Rishabh?
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you, sir, for inviting me to this great talk. I myself learned a great deal listening to other panelists. I hope it will be helpful for applying for my postdocs as well. As I've already feel people have already covered most of the topics, but I just want to emphasize on things I should have known when I was applying for PhD at Max Planck. So I'll just share a presentation for application requirements for PhD in Europe. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, you need a CV, and in that you need to highlight your achievements, your education background, and your publications if there are any. And then comes the letter of interest, or SOP, which is the most important component of your application. As Professor Sunil also told, that it is the best opportunity for you to sell yourself to the professor or your hiring person. So in that, it's a great opportunity for you to tell like how your research interest fits the research idea of the project that you'll be applying for or the professor that you'll be working with. So here you can highlight the work from your thesis that you did and how it connects to the project that you're applying for. And then you can describe your technical skills, like the softwares which you like working with, like Stata, R, so that professor will know like what you'll be comfortable working with, your area of expertise in which you can tell what field of demography you're interested in or are comfortable with, and what research questions you'll pursue when you'll be working with that professor in future. And finally, you tell them why you are interested in working with their institute or research group, like how it will benefit you and why from all the world you are selecting their institute. So I think SOP is a great way to, give a good perspective to the professor about yourself, like why you're interested in this. So it should be given enough emphasis. And after that, you need 2 academic references. In that, I prefer someone you have worked with who knows your research strengths, your research style, and your weaknesses as well, who could communicate it to the professor about you very well. So I'll suggest you to go with someone who knows you well or whom with you worked before. And finally, one writing sample for checking your English proficiency. In that, you can give your thesis as well. If you don't have publication, it's also okay, because not every professor expects to have a publication just after your master's. So don't dishearten yourself if you don't have publication, because I also didn't had when I applied. So yeah, and because of COVID right now, people cannot give TOEFL or IELTS, so they are checking English proficiency from your thesis or any publication that you have. So this is it from my side. But one thing I also want to emphasize is what really worked for me is during my MPhil thesis, I took a very challenging topic, which was very outside of my scope because I didn't have a background in economics or econometrics. So I learned a great deal out of it. And also the thing that really helped is I developed an attitude to, learn new things. And now I'm not afraid to work in the project that I'm working in because it includes working in longitudinal data, register data, which I have not worked with before. So I encourage all the master students or PhD students, like if you're really passionate about something, you should go for it because not only you'll learn a great deal out of it, but also you'll be more confident about your future research projects. And that's what I think professor also looks for when they're recruiting the person, that the person is open to trying new things. Because if you already know everything, why it will take like 3-4 years, but you should be receptive to new ideas and methods. So yeah, that's it from my side. So I'll encourage everyone to apply and not be afraid of failures, because if you get selected, it's good. And if not, you'll get good experience out of it. Yeah, so I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rishabh. So we had a very wonderful presentations from across the globe and covering many dimensions of PhD application opportunities, PDF fellowships, and all other things. Organizers, how many minutes we have time we can take?
We don't know. Another 5 minutes or 7 minutes?
Okay.
Yeah.
Another 5 minutes. So let me then, we have a lot of questions came in the chat box. So maybe I request the panelists to quickly have a look, and if they want to answer 1 or 2 questions, taking 1 minute, one by one. And so, because we have another program scheduled now. So may I invite Professor Tim Dyson?
1 minute each.
1 minute each. Sorry for that.
I think most of the questions are answered also.
Okay. Professor Halli?
As Rajan said, most of the questions are answered, but that most of the questions are again about postdoctoral fellowship or the PhD fellowships. As I mentioned in my presentation, there are postdoctoral fellowships are mostly through contact with the particular person who has a project. And if you know your area and if you can identify the appropriate professors who are also working in that area, yeah, there are more chances that you may be employed as a postdoctoral fellow. So, that as I said, there are, like a CIHR, if somebody is working on health, if they can contact me, so that I can help them in terms of preparing a proposal for a postdoctoral fellowship through this, that Canadian Institute for Health Research. So, yeah, so I saw lots of questions about the funding.
So Shashi?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. Just to say that Abhishek Singh was a postdoc with me in Portsmouth about 8 years ago, something like that, so under Liverhome Fellowship Scheme. So there are, I think, again, the point is the contacts, works. I think I asked when I had this one to James. I think, James, do you have anybody good to work? And so there was a couple of suggestions. Yes, I think the contact is very important. I think I just want to add one more point about applying the same thing to different people. Particularly if you're applying to Commonwealth scholarship, you can choose one institution and there's another second choice and there's another, I think it's up to second choice. So usually when students apply, they don't tell you whether your institution is the first or second. So some student contacted me while applying to Commonwealth fellowship, and I thought she's working with me and developed, and she got it, but she went to some other place because her choice was some other university, and you thought she's working or he's working with you. And I think that's a very unethical to do so without informing people. So please don't make any wrong things at the beginning, because people ultimately would know each other. You can see now, we are all sitting all over the world, but we all know. So please don't make any issues that might impact you later on in your life. Thank you.
So Sunil?
Well, I would say that in my department, we have about 10 fellowships for PhD every year, depending on how many becomes available. Again, this is not a pure demography department, it's a public health department, and we have biostats and epidemiology is one of the tracks that may be interested to some of IIPS graduates. Look into the website and see if there is an interest. I don't think I can influence any application, but as I said in my presentation, if there is a niche that you can show yourself in your application, I'm happy to look into it. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Tim Dyson, are you still there? Okay, so I think we have already overshot the time, and Professor Rajan is warning me that we have to close the session. Next program is going to start. So let me thank all the panelists for
Professor
agreeing.
Shekhar,
Yes.
Professor Shekhar, Professor Tim is there. He's very much there.
Tim is there. Ask him if he want to say anything. Professor Tim Dyson?
Tim Dyson, would you like to say anything now?
Tim, yeah. I think he's.
Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you now. Tim.
No, muted again. You are muted. Professor Tim, you are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Well, just 2 or 3 points. One is someone talked on the chat about action research. Yes, I think what I like in particular, something which I think makes a research idea much more attractive, is if, as well as involving survey analysis, it also involves a fieldwork component which complements that survey analysis. That sort of approach, to me, makes a research proposal is particularly inviting. So a practical element, if you like, to a formal demographic analysis or survey analysis is a good thing. And a second point which came up on the chat is someone talking about medical demography. Well, in the UK, the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine is definitely the best place for medical demography. And outside of the UK, obviously one would think of Johns Hopkins.
Okay, thank you, Tim. And so we had a very, very wonderful presentations, and let me thank all the panelists for accepting my invitation and be here for and sharing their valuable experience and knowledge with our masters and PhD scholars. And thank you so much. We don't have much time for a more detailed discussion, but students can still contact. Over to Professor Nagarajan now.
Yeah, Professor Shekhar, if you permit me, Professor the MV George is here. He is one of our oldest alumni of IIPS of 1958, 59, 59, 60 batch here. I request him to at least say hi to our students. We are very happy to see him in this group. And when there are nearly 180 students were attending at one point of a time. Sir, at least you say hi to our students or some wish to our students.
Yeah, please give me a chance to him. He can speak for 2 minutes and then we'll wind up.
Yes, Professor MV George, please.
Professor George,
yes.
Can you unmute?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes,
please.
Yes, I am sort of pleasantly surprised to note that I am the oldest alumni of IIPS. I did not realize that, you see, until I attended the meeting. But I think it was very interesting to see the presentation here about the possibilities for future studies and so on, the scholarship. So I think the panelists covered, I think, all the elements of that one, and it will be very useful for the students who apply. I am attached with Emory University in Atlanta, and they don't have a demography program per se, but they have the health department, which is very, very strong, I would say. And they have some demography related studies and so on going on. And therefore, that's one place also one can apply in the health. There are quite a number of Indian students studying there. They have got books. It's a private university, but they have good scholarship scheme and they have endowment. It's a very rich university. So I think probably one could consider applying there too, Emory University. So I only wish everybody all the best for your future programs and studies. And it was nice to see many of you here. And so that's all I have to say. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Professor George. Now over to the organizers.
Nagaraj, are you going to give a vote of thanks, Nagaraj?
Yeah, I'm here.
I will speak for a minute. I'll speak for a minute before you wind up. I think one of the things we heard from the speaker, I like Tim Dyson's presentation, because Tim Dyson said that at the end of the day, don't leave IIPS. I just want to reiterate that point. I think, for example, I did not go out for PhD. When I joined in IIPS, Srinivas was the director. He said, I can send you any place in the world. I said, no, I will do in IIPS. I have no regret to say that I have done PhD in IIPS. And also Srinivasan, who was the longest director of IIPS. He did PhD in Kerala University. And your current director of IIPS, K.S. James, did PhD in CDS in Trivandrum. So it is not like where you go is important, what you are doing or what you are going to do is important. I'll stop here. Thank you, Nagarajan.
Yeah, I have only one more thing as just a follow up to what Dr. Erdeyarajan said, that IIPS, when I studied, it was Demographic Training and Research Center. It is one of the best places for demographic training or studies concerned. In fact, if you go to any universities in UK, in USA, or even Canada, you don't find such a program devoted for demography. So you pick up there, but you don't have such intensive, training in demography. So I would say that whenever anybody from IIPS apply, that person knows demography. That he can deal with the technical aspects as well as the substantive aspects very well. You don't find such courses or anything in any of the universities here, as far as I know. So this is one of the best. I mean, you find some other demographic institutions like, I was at the Cairo Demographic Center. It was also similar. Like the training is concerned, very intensive, and with all practicals and so on. In order to study demography, I mean, particularly the technical aspect of it, you have to practice it. That's the only way you can do it. So this is done in IIPS. So it is a wonderful place from that point of view, and you are well equipped for that in those who have gone through that one.
One more thing, Professor George. Professor George, you are not the senior most, one of the senior most. Your teacher is still alive, K.C. Sakaria.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm talking about
you are one of the senior most, not the
yeah,
senior most.
There are two, not one. Professor Zakaria and Dr. Ramachandran.
That's right. They are all there. They are all there.
Yes, these are the two.
So that's right. Thank you.
But I
Yes.
think Professor George was the first student of
Yeah.
IIPS. They were teachers, Jakaria and Ramachandran. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So thank you very much. I mean, it's a very, very interesting session, and all the panelists have done extremely good job for the students. I especially thank Professor Tim and Professor Halli, Professor Damalingam, and Professor Sashindran and Professor
Yeah.
Sunil for taking time and interacting with our students. And I also thank the PhDs, current PhD students who are abroad, Namrata and Susrima and Rishabh Tyagi. Thank you so much for giving your inputs. And with the IIPS increasing its intake of students every year, this session is really very, very useful for our students. Maybe in future we may interact more with our alumni abroad to connect our students with our alumni abroad. Thank you so much. And Professor Shekhar, I must thank you. Thank you because you have arranged the session in a short notice. In a week, you have arranged this. And I thank you and Dr. Manas for that. So thank you so much. And all the students who participated, I thank all of them on behalf of IPSA and IIPS. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Professor George wants to say something.
Yeah, I just only I'm saying hello to Tangam Sunil. I don't know whether he recognizes. I met him.
Yes, yes, I do. I do remember you, sir. Very
Okay,
well.
that's why I want to know because
I
we
will
used to meet
I
at
will send you.
the Southern Demographic Association.
Right, right.
But I don't go for
I
those
just
meetings
realized
now.
that. I just realized that you're in Emory, so I'll find your
Yeah.
email address and I'll send you an email pretty soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Professor Shekhar, you can close the session. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you,
wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for participating.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, the resource persons. Thank you, the PhD scholars.
Thank you, sir.
From abroad and as well as from India and all our master students. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Please don't go away. This is the session for the cultural program. You can continue with the cultural
Good evening,
Okay.
everyone.
Same.
Good evening, everyone.
Same
Yeah.
day.
Okay, marathon session
Yeah.
continues. Good.
Okay, so now we are at the end of the second day. Today we started. It's not coming. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Now we are at the end of the second day session. We started with the couples meet, the soulmate of IIPS. It was a wonderful session. And then we had a hostel. I mean, people discussed from different perspective as a warden, as a student, and then we had a discussion from managers also. And then we landed up to the academic session where we discussed about the curriculum in very detail and very useful suggestion we got in that session. And then this one, which was highly beneficial to all the students, those who aspire to go abroad. And they got a lot of ideas at how to make it possible. So we hope that with this, all these good things, we are going ahead, and now it's a time to get relaxed. Of course, we are quite relaxed. We got a lot of academic inputs. So now it's time to rejoice our togetherness. And for this, we have a team, a cultural team, led by Professor Lungjim, Dr. Suresh. So I'd request if Dr. Suresh is here, can you please unmute and start the session? And we have two beautiful ladies who will be conducting the program. So now this session is over to Dr. Suresh and the cultural team. Thank you so much.
I'm audible? Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for this opportunity. I think whole day we had a sessions and very much informative and academics. And without taking much time, I would, before starting the session, I would like to thank our volunteers. They have done a tremendous hard work for putting together this cultural program, because this is a program where we, after a whole day spending for academic and this interesting discussions. We want to just get relax and rejoice. Without taking much time, I would request Himani and Aditi to conduct the further program. Over to you, Himani and Aditi.
Welcome all once again. Thank you from the bottom of our heart for joining this event once again. I am Aditi along with my fellow researcher Himani Sharma. We brought you this cultural session because we totally feel all of you, how each of your memories of IIPS has been associated with cultural fest, events, pujas and sports in the campus. That is another part. Virtually we cannot bring you the sports event. But we are truly hoping that you are getting real happiness by attending these cultural events.
We are hoping that the cultural events would keep you hooked to the program for the next 1 hour. So, are you really excited for this, Aditi?
Yes, I'm truly excited. In fact, our first event is a Vandana, Bhairavi Vandana by Shomu Sen Gupta and Mrinmoy Pratim Bhardwaj. These are both 2018 graduates from the institute. Mrinmoy did his
Oh my God, that was a lovely performance. I wonder how some people have so much talent in them, right? So Aditi, do you know that they have been learning this since for a decade now?
Oh my God, I didn't know. But
Yes.
certainly this kind of performance needs lots and lots of practice, isn't it?
Yes. So after this melodious performance, do you like to have some dance performance?
Please, yes, why not? Let's
Yes.
start the evening with some good dance.
Yes, so it's a dance performance from a very, very fresher batch. So we can call it the pandemic batch, which is of 2021. So it is by.
So she's a fresher named Swapna Sudha, a student of MA MSc at the institute, and we are so grateful that she has sent us this video. Truly appreciate that a fresher has come up. Thank you so much. What an elegant performance. Thank you so much, Swapnisudha.
So now from the pandemic batch, let us move to a millennial batch. So next performance is by Kashmir Kumar Bhatt. He was an MPS student in the batch 1990 to 2000, now working as an associate professor in geography at Bhilwara University, Rajasthan. So let us look at his performance.
Please play the video.
Please play the video.
प्यार दीवाना होता है, मस्ताना होता है, हर खुशी से हर गम से बेगाना होता है। प्यार दीवाना होता है, मस्ताना होता है, हर खुशी से हर गम से बेगाना होता है। रहे कोई 100 पर्दों में डरे शर्म से, नजर अजी लाख चुराए कोई सनम से। रहे कोई 100 पर्दों में डरे शर्म से, नजर अजी लाख चुराए कोई सनम से। आ ही जाता है दिल जिस पर आना होता है, हर खुशी से हर गम से बेगाना होता है। प्यार दीवाना होता है, मस्ताना होता है, हर खुशी से हर गम से बेगाना होता है। शमा कहे परवाने से परे चला जा, मेरी तरह जल जाएगा यहाँ नहीं आ। शमा कहे परवाने से परे चला जा, मेरी तरह जल जाएगा यहाँ नहीं आ। वो नहीं सुनता उसको जल जाना होता है, हर खुशी से हर गम से बेगाना हो।
प्यार वाकई में बहुत ही दीवाना होता है।
You're muted.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir, for sending this video.
So next is a dance performance of a very sweet child. She has been performing in every event of IIPS since many years now. She is the daughter of our beloved faculty, Professor Sanjay Mohanty. So let us look at her performance. Please play the video.
Asama
Wow, Shivani, you never fail to amaze us. That was beautiful. Thank you. पैंडेमिक ने बॉलीवुड के कई सारे सितारे हमसे छीन लिए, चाहे वो चिंटू जी हो, सुशांत सिंह राजपूत हो या फिर आइकॉनिक सुपरस्टार इरफान खान। अगला गाना मेरी प्यारी को-होस्ट हिमानी द्वारा है। ये गाना इन्होंने इरफान खान को डेडिकेट किया है, जो कि पीकू मूवी का है। प्लीज प्ले द सॉन्ग।
किस लम्हे ने थामी उंगली मेरी, फुसला के मुझको ले चला, नंगे पाँव दौड़ी आंखें मेरी, ख्वाबों की सारी बस्तियाँ, हर दूरियाँ हर फासले करीब हैं, इस उम्र की भी शख्सियत अजीब है। झीनी झीनी इन सांसों से पहचानी सी आवाजों में गूंजा है आज आसमां, कैसे हम बेजुबान इस जीने में कहीं हम भी थे ज्यादा या जरा कम ही थे, रुक के भी चल पड़े मगर रास्ते सब बेजुबान, जीने की आदत लगी, बेमतलब कर्जे चढ़ गए, हादसों से बच के जाते कहाँ, सब रोते हंसते सह गए, अब गलतियाँ जो मान ली तो ठीक है, कमजोरियों को मात दी तो ठीक है। झीनी झीनी इन सांसों से पहचानी सी आवाजों में गूंजा है आज आसमां, कैसे हम बेजुबान इस जीने में कहीं हम भी थे ज्यादा या जरा कम ही थे, रुक के भी चल पड़े मगर रास्ते सब बेजुबान। थैंक यू। किस लम्हे
वाह हिमानी, इतनी सुंदर आवाज।
थैंक यू दोस्त। सो दोस्ती से याद आया, डू यू वांट टू like see something related to दोस्ती and campus diaries and all of that?
Are you talking about दोस्ती वाले गाने?
Yes. So do you remember the most mischievous like our seniors of IIPS?
Yes, I do. So next is a instrumental song by two of our seniors, Shomu Sen Gupta and Minmay Pratim Bhardwaj.
So they
guess the songs then yourself.
This one.
my God, that was amazing. And seeing these seniors on screen has just reminded me of my days at IIPS. How we, you remember how we used to gather at every event together
and had so much of fun.
Yes.
I really miss that.
Yes, from cutting cakes at birthdays to Ganpati Visarjans,
And
everything.
being called by warden for that, for cutting cake at 12.
Yes, we can't forget that too. So thank you seniors for sending this in. So next is a performance by Reena Basu ma'am. She was an MPS scholar from distance in 2006, and right now she is designated as an assistant director
in HS Gaur University, Sagar, which is in Madhya Pradesh. Yes. So this will be going to be a dance, and you are going to really enjoy this. Please play the video.
মনোমর মেঘের সঙ্গী মনোমর মেঘের সঙ্গী উড়ে চলে দিক দিগন্তের পানে নিঃসীম শূন্যে শ্রাবণ বর্ষণ সঙ্গীতে রিমিঝিম 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 মনোমর মেঘের সঙ্গী উড়ে চলে দিক দিগন্তের পানে নিঃসীম শূন্যে শ্রাবণ বর্ষণ সঙ্গীতে রিমিঝিম 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 মনোমর হংস বলাকার পাখায় যায় উড়ে কচিত কচিত চকিত তড়িত আলোকে মনোমর হংস বলাকার পাখায় যায় উড়ে কচিত কচিত চকিত তড়িত আলোকে ঝনঝন মঞ্জির বাজায় ঝঞ্ঝা রুদ্র আনন্দে কল 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 মন্ত্রে নির্ঝরিণী ডাক দেয় প্রলয় আহ্বানে মনোমর মেঘের সঙ্গী উড়ে চলে দিক দিগন্তের পানে নিঃসীম শূন্যে শ্রাবণ বর্ষণ সঙ্গীতে রিমিঝিম রিমিঝিম রিমিঝিম
Namaskar to one and
चलेगा छोड़ो भी जाओ आगे जाओ
That was a nice song, ma'am. That was and a really nice, energetic dance. Thank you so much for sending this, ma'am.
So next performance is by somebody who is very special to me, at least. She is my batchmate. She was my batchmate. She's still my batchmate. Her name is Pooja Arora. She's a current PhD scholar at IIPS Mumbai. So she has sung a song which will literally take us to our college days, our memories, and our like memories associated with our batches. So let us play the video.
This is my nth attempt at this video.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Pooja Arora, a PhD scholar at IIPS. I wish to dedicate this song to my friends who have been an amazing company in the last 4 years. I don't know what I would have done without them, away from my home, my family. So here goes. यादों के पुराने एल्बम में छुपा के रखे हैं हमने वो दिन गुल्लक में बड़ी चवन्नी सी बचा के रखे हैं हमने वो दिन ना किसी मंजिल की फिक्र थी जिंदगी जीने की उम्र थी दोस्ती और दोस्तों से उधार के दिन थे वो दिन भी क्या दिन थे वो दिन भी क्या दिन थे वो दिन भी क्या दिन थे बिगड़े हुए इंसान थे शैतान की संतान थे लेकिन ब्रदर जो भी कहो हो या नहीं तो जानते कॉलेज की कुड़ी से करने आंखें चार के दिन थे आए जिंदगी में पहले पहले प्यार के दिन थे वो दिन भी क्या 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 दिन थे थैंक यू
Thank you so much, Pooja, for sending such a lovely. Been working as a volunteer also, and then she got time to record this song also.
Wow, Himani, what a talented multitasker do we have amongst us. I
Yes.
didn't know this about her.
Yes, that's true.
And you know, lately Pooja has been promoting a lot of Sattvic movement.
Yes, I know that, and I guess most of us know that.
Yeah, and she has been quite vocal about it too.
Yes, and that's nice, right?
Yeah. So, Himani,
Yeah.
sab ho gaya. Do we have something in comedy?
Yes, don't worry, we have something in comedy as well. We have everything in our bag. So, next performance is by Mukesh Parmar. He's currently pursuing his PhD from JNU and he has sent his hilarious piece of comedy act. So, let us enjoy that video. Please play the video.
Hi guys, this is Mukesh Parmar and I have done my masters from IIPS in 2012-14 batch. So today I will be performing a comic set. Before starting, I would like to put out a disclaimer that my act is a work of fiction and there is no resemblance to any person or place. It's totally fun intended, so there is no intention of hurting anyone's feeling. So please don't get offended. Thank you. So we'll start now. हम पॉपुलेशन साइंटिस्ट की एक टिपिकल आदत है, हम रिसर्चर्स जब भी कोई इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में जाते हैं ना, तो हमारे लिए वो कॉन्फ्रेंस नहीं होता, वो एक्चुअली 3 days and 2 nights का हॉलीडे पैकेज होता है हमारे लिए. And sadly, the conference organizers also know this, that we are the freeloaders, but still they pretend like कभी तो सुधरेंगे ये लोग. So जब फर्स्ट डे हम लोग कॉन्फ्रेंस पे पहुंचते हैं, तो दे हैंड आउट दिस कॉन्फ्रेंस शेड्यूल टू अस, ठीक है, एंड वी आर लाइक, हमको क्या पड़ी है, हम तो अपना आइटनरी घर से ही बना के आए, फ्रॉम चेक इन टू चेकआउट टाइम हमको क्या लेना देना, वी डोंट केयर, बट स्टिल फॉर्मेलिटी के लिए we will take it and we will tick mark all the sessions we are going to attend. No, we will pretend that what all sessions we are going to attend. अच्छा मोर्टेलिटी, हाँ ये तो मेरे टॉपिक से आसपास ही है, सेशन ये अटेंड कर लेंगे, फिर फैमिली प्लानिंग कर लेंगे, एडल्ट वाला कर लेंगे, फिर एजिंग एंड हेल्थ कर लेंगे, बट सब जानते हैं इन लास्ट वी आर ओनली गोइंग टू अटेंड लंच, नथिंग एल्स। क्योंकि बाहर जब हम इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में जा रहे हैं तो लंच महंगा है ना, बाहर करना बहुत महंगा है ना। ओ माय गॉड, $10 बजट के बाहर है यार, ये नहीं होगा इतना। तो अगर लंच पे सारा खर्च कर दिया खाने पे तो बचेगा क्या हमारे ट्रेवल कार्ड पे। एंड देयर इज आल्सो वन मोर रीजन टू अटेंड द लंच एट द कॉन्फ्रेंस साइट, बिकॉज वी हैव टू रिस्पेक्ट आवर आइडेंटिटी ना। We can't forget that we are from low and middle income countries and we have been paid to attend this conference, right? Oh my god, I'm the dignitary. I have been especially invited to attend this conference. I should at least have their lunch, right? तो इन इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में लंच तो मिलता है लेकिन दे डोंट प्रोवाइड डिनर्स। सो इन द डिनर टाइम वी विल बी लाइक, हमारा तो उपवास चल रहा है यार, हमारा सावन चल रहा है, हम लंच हम नहीं खाएंगे। बट नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में सीन कुछ अलग है, दे गिव आउट दिस लंच कूपन टू अस, है ना। तो हम लोग कॉन्फ्रेंस साइट पर आ जाएंगे एग्जैक्टली हाफ एन आवर पहले, लंच स्टार्ट होने से हाफ एन आवर पहले हम लोग आ जाएंगे। तो हम लोग आके क्या करेंगे, जो भी साइड में बैठा है, डूड लंच का कूपन मिल गया क्या? नहीं अभी नहीं मिला, अभी वेट कर। हम लोग चलो ठीक है यार, आधे घंटे की तो बात है, देख लेते हैं। कॉन्फ्रेंस चल रही है, सामने कुछ भी प्रेजेंटेशन चल रहा है, लेकिन हमारा दिमाग पूरा लंच के मेनू पे है। तो सामने प्रेजेंटेशन चल रहा है, द गाय हु इज प्रेजेंटिंग विल बी लाइक, दिस इज हाउ वी कैलकुलेटेड द सैंपल साइज फॉर आवर स्टडीज। in our mind we will be calculating the sample sizes of each dishes which would fit in our plate, right? We will be calculating the sample size of each dishes which would fit in our plate comfortably. There will be like दाल है, चावल है, रोटी है, पूरी है, सब्जी है, एक कोई गोभी की सब्जी है, फिर एक मटर पनीर है, और फिर बटर पनीर, और फिर लास्ट में बटर चिकन भी तो है। Oh my god, इतनी सारी डिशेस फिट कैसे होगी? आई थिंक आई नीड टू ड्रॉप आउट 1 or 2 डिशेस। एक काम करते हैं, अचार को ड्रॉप कर देते हैं और इस सलाद को हटा देते हैं, ये तो IPS में मिल जाएगा। ठीक है यार, कोई बात नहीं। फिर बाहर जाके एक और टिपिकल आ देता है, एक ट्रेंड ही चला हुआ है, सबको है ना गॉगल्स लगा के फ़ोटो खिंचवानी है और फेसबुक पे अपलोड करना है, ताकि जो यहाँ बैठे जिन्होंने अटेंड नहीं किया उनकी भी तो थोड़ी जलनी चाहिए। तो दिस गॉगल्स आर लाइक ट्रेंड हो चुका है। इट इज़ लाइक नेसेसरी इन सफिशिएंट कंडीशन टू अटेंड अ इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस। तो मेरे से जब जूनियर आके पूछते ना कि भैया क्या क्या चीज़ें चाहिए इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में सिलेक्शन हुआ है, मैंने कहा डूड पासपोर्ट बन गया, यू नीड टू गेट अ पासपोर्ट, यू नीड टू गेट अ वीज़ा एंड यू नीड टू गेट अ गॉगल्स, sunglasses, don't call it sunglasses, these are goggles. And no matter how much we hate each other in the campus, बाहर जाके सबको भाईचारा निभाना है। मुकेश, why are you standing in the outskirts? Come, we are having a group photo session. I will be like, अरे नहीं, मुझे नहीं चाहिए, I am comfortable, I am okay, I don't want to be a part. तो वो लोग भी लाइक ठीक है, तुझे नहीं आना कोई बात नहीं, तू कैमरा पकड़ और हम सबकी फ़ोटो ले। इन्हीं सब हरकतों की वजह से द कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑर्गेनाइजर्स समझ जाते हैं कि ये इंडियंस को बुलाने का कोई मतलब नहीं, ये लोग कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करते हैं नहीं। तो नाउ वी नो द रीज़न व्हाई द ग्रांट्स आर रिड्यूसिंग डे ईयर बाय ईयर फॉर दिस इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंसेस, है ना। इट इज़ नॉट दैट दे आर शॉर्ट ऑफ ग्रांट्स, इट इज़ बिकॉज आवर typical habit or behavior तो जानते हैं हमारी हरकतें, ठीक है। तो ये सब जब इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ख़त्म हो जाती है, हम लोग जब इंडिया आते हैं, कैंपस पहुँचते हैं, तो हमारे पास हमारे जूनियर आते हैं, भैया दीदी क्या लाए आप, इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करने गए थे ना, तो क्या लाए हमारे लिए, क्या क्या सोवेनियर्स लाए हमारे लिए। एंड वी विल बी लाइक वी हैव ब्रॉट डिसअपॉइंटमेंट फॉर यू, अ बिग डिसअपॉइंटमेंट, इतना बड़ा डिसअपॉइंटमेंट कि नेक्स्ट ईयर तुम लोगों का अगर में सिलेक्शन भी हुआ ना, तुम लोगों को ग्रांट्स नहीं मिलने वाले। एंजॉय। इसके अलावा एक और टिपिकल ऑब्जर्वेशन है पीएचडी से रिलेटेड कि व्हेन वी गाइज आर इन द फर्स्ट ईयर ऑफ पीएचडी वी हैव टू सर्च फॉर अ पीएचडी टॉपिक। तो कुछ लोग ऐसा पीएचडी टॉपिक चूज कर लेते हैं जो उनके पर्सनैलिटी और बैकग्राउंड से रेजोनेट नहीं करता है। इन स्टैटिस्टिकल टर्म्स देयर इज नो कोरिलेशन बिटवीन द research topic they choose and their background. For example, you will see a guy जो गुटखा खैनी पीस रहा होगा, बना रहा होगा, and you will go up to him and ask, dude, what is your topic? What is your research topic? And he will be like, my topic for PhD is determinants of smokeless tobacco on rural parts of UP. And my data source is Global Adult Tobacco Survey. मैंने कहा क्या मजाक चल रहा है यार, कौन है जो इनके रिसर्च टॉपिक पास कर रहे हैं, कौन इनका अप्रूवल दे रहा है भाई, कुछ पता ही नहीं क्या टॉपिक और क्या इनके हालत है। ऐसी आई मेट अ फैट गाय, एक बंदा था जिसकी बियर बेली थी, एकदम मटके जैसा पेट लटक रहा है। आई गो अप टू हिम एंड आस्क, डूड व्हाट इज योर रिसर्च टॉपिक? एंड ही विल बी लाइक, मेरा रिसर्च टॉपिक है obesity and emerging epidemic in India, and I will be telling ways and methods of preventing obesity in India. I will be telling him the policy implications. मैंने कहा यार डूड, मैंने खुद तो पतला हो जा क्या मजाक चल रहा है। मेरा एक दोस्त था हरियाणा से, मैंने उससे पूछा यार कि तुम लोग कितने भाई बहन हो, हाउ मेनी सिबलिंग्स यू आर? वो बोलता है भाई हम लोग 5, वी आर 5 ब्रदर्स, नो सिस्टर्स। मैंने कहा ठीक है, व्हाट इज योर रिसर्च टॉपिक? ही विल बी लाइक मिसिंग गर्ल चाइल्ड इन इंडिया एंड चाइना, ट्रेंड्स एंड पैटर्न्स एंड पॉलिसी चैलेंजेस अक्रॉस कंट्री स्टडी। मैंने कहा डूड, अपने पापा को कभी बताया कि क्या पॉलिसी चैलेंजेस आ गए तो घर पे बेटियां मिसिंग है? घर पे मिसिंग गर्ल्स का केस है और तुम लोग मजाक कर रहे हो। फिर एक लड़की होगी, विल बी लाइक आई एम द सिंगल गर्ल चाइल्ड इन माय फैमिली, आई एम द सिंगल गर्ल चाइल्ड इन माय फैमिली। मैंने कहा ठीक है, वो सब ठीक है, व्हाट इज योर टॉपिक? एंड शी विल बी लाइक सम प्रेफरेंस इन साउथ ईस्ट एशिया, सम प्रेफरेंस इन साउथ ईस्ट एशिया, क्रॉस कंट्री एनालिसिस, इंडिया, चाइना एंड साउथ कोरिया। मैंने कहा था ना कोई कोरिलेशन नहीं है, सिंपली आई प्रूव माय पॉइंट। दैट्स माय टाइम गाइस, आई एम साइनिंग ऑफ, थैंक यू फॉर लिसनिंग टू मी, थैंक यू।
That was real fun, है ना?
Yes.
हमने सबसे ज्यादा कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में यही तो किया है।
Yes, and इनकी बातों से याद आ गया अचानक से कि हम कैसे कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में प्रेजेंटेशन से ज्यादा खाने पे दिमाग लगाते थे।
एकदम डेडलाइन में हर कॉन्फ्रेंस में पेपर सबमिट करो, अरे यार मिस नहीं होना चाहिए।
एग्जैक्टली, एंड एक पेपर 2 जगह 3 जगह, बस हमें जाना है, वी वांट टू अटेंड द कॉन्फ्रेंसेस
एंड टाइटल चेंज कर दो और काम हो जाए।
एंड वी वांट टू सी द सिटीज, राइट?
या एक्चुअली कॉन्फ्रेंसेस हेल्प अस टू एक्सप्लोर सो मेनी सिटीज।
या बट इसमें हमारी कोई गलती नहीं है, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस होती ही इतनी अच्छी है कि हम क्या करें,
और इतने अच्छे लोकेशंस पे, आई मीन
एग्जैक्टली who will not go to Kerala if there's a conference in Kerala?
And Mandi.
Yeah, Mandi for sure. So let us move forward.
By the way, thank you for sending your video.
Yeah, we enjoyed a lot. Thank you.
So next इनको रणबीर कपूर कहा जाता है, इनके बैच का। बहुत सारे गाने गाए हैं इन्होंने हमारे लिए और मेरी तो जान खा गए। एक बार पता है क्या हुआ, मैं मदर मैरी बनी थी क्रिसमस के प्ले में। उसके बाद पूरे 3 साल ये मुझे हर जगह मम्मी कह के बुलाता था।
Oh God.
मेरा दिमाग खा गया, कहीं भी शुरू हो जाता था।
Oh God. Then you can certainly take revenge from him today.
Yeah. Actually, let's call him Sasta Ranveer Kapoor.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, no offense.
Yeah.
So, this is Kishore. He's working as a biostatistician at Saital, Pune, and he has always performed in IIPS. Those who are acquainted with him must be knowing this. And those new, please enjoy the performance.
Please play the video.
तू जो रूठा तू कौन हंसेगा, तू जो छूटा तू कौन रहेगा, तू चुप है तो इन डर लगता है, अपना मुझको अब कौन कहेगा, तू ही वजह तेरे बिना बेवजह बेकार हूँ मैं, तेरा यार हूँ मैं, तेरा यार हूँ मैं। ओ
Ending this, and this was nice.
Okay, so Aditi, we have had enough Bollywood songs and enough filmy songs, right? Do you have something in folk music or any devotional song?
Wait, we have arrangements for all.
Okay.
For each and everything.
Okay, that's
for
nice.
after party too. Okay, so this one is by Dr. Priyambada Sameer Tondarkar. She's MPS and PhD student and graduated in 2002.
Her current designation is M&E. She's an M&E head at a Mumbai-based company. So let's play the video and enjoy her performance.
जिसको जग में अगर संगीत न होता, जग में अगर संगीत न होता, कोई किसी का मीत न होता, जग में अगर संगीत न होता, कोई किसी का मीत न होता। ये एहसान है सात सुरों का, ये एहसान है सात सुरों का, तेरा भी एहसान नहीं यार नहीं है। सुर से जिसको घुंघर बाजे, झन झन बाजे घुंघरुआ छुन छुन छुन, घुंघर बाजे झन झन। झूठी बात पे करना भरोसा, जग में है सब धोखा ही धोखा, झूठी बात पे करना भरोसा, जग में है सब धोखा ही धोखा, झूठी बात पे बहरा बन जा, झूठी बात पे बहरा बन जा, सच बात को सुन घुंघर बाजे झन झन। बोले सागर पार करैया, हर बोली पर डोले नैया, बोले सागर पार करैया, हर बोली पर डोले नैया। इस दुनिया का कौन खिवैया, इस दुनिया का कौन खिवैया, चल अच्छा है शगुन घुंघर बाजे झन झन। कोयलिया बोले अम्बुबा के डार पर, कोयलिया बोले अम्बुबा के डार पर, ऋतु बसंत की देत संदेश, ऋतु बसंत की देत संदेश। कोयलिया बोले अम्बुबा के डार पर, नयु कलियन पर गूंजत भंवरा, नयु कलियन पर गूंजत भंवरा, उनके संग तरत रंग रलिया, यह बसंत की देत संदेशवा, यह बसंत की देत संदेशवा। कोयलिया बोले अम्बुबा के डार पर, कोयलिया बोले अम्बु गग सनि धनि सा सानि ध धनि नि ध ग सानि धनि ध ध ग धनि सा ग सानि सा। कोयलिया बोले अम्बुबा के डार पर, कोयलिया बोले अम्बु नि नि सनि धनि सा सानि ध धनि नि ध सानि धनि ध ध म ग सा ग म धनि सा ग सानि सा। कोयलिया बोले अम्बुबा के डार पर, कोयलिया बोले अम्बु, कोयलिया बोले अम्बु, कोयलिया बोले अम्बुबा के डार पर।
That was soulful, ma'am. Thank you so much for sending this video, taking time from your busy schedule and sending this us.
Thank you. So Aditi, do you remember the most mischievous batch of IIPS, or let's say the students of IIPS?
Are you talking about our immediate seniors?
Yes, and you remember how we had so much of dhamal at IIPS because of them?
Yes, and in fact, they definitely need our felicitation today.
Yes, so today we really need to felicitate them. So in their memory, we are playing this video.
Some of these videos have been shot at hostel, and
Yes.
we managed to get hold of these videos.
Yes.
So next is a comedic clip by students whom you can identify with by yourself, and they are well-known, well-known people of IIPS.
Yeah, and if not, then we'll help you out.
Always at the front foot for doing any sort of masti.
Mischievous activity, yeah. So
Yeah.
let's play the video. That was hilarious, and I can see you there as well. What were you doing there?
Well, I was trying my hands on singing, trying to ace it. So maybe next cultural event, I would send my.
You will take them over. You will take them
Yeah.
over. Okay. Thank you so much for sending this in. So next, what do we have next?
Next is, this
What?
is going to be fun. So, in fact, these students, it's so nice to see that even after so many years, they are still the same. We had so much of fun with these seniors.
Yes, they were just like this at the hostel, and after so many years, they are still the same, right? So
The next video is going to be very special.
How?
It is a very special video, and this song is from the land of Tagore.
Oh.
Any guesses? Land of Tagore?
Yeah, it's from Bengal.
Yes.
So it must be in Bengali.
Yes.
Oh my God! So
one of the sweetest language of the country.
So the next performance is sent by Angan Sen Gupta. He was an MPS student at IIPS and currently as an associate professor at the
Amrit Vishwa Vidyapeeth University, Bangalore.
So let's play the video and enjoy his performance.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Angan Sengupta. I am passed out of MPS 2007-8 batch. I convey my pranam to all my seniors and faculty members of IIPS and my teachers, and my best wishes and regards and loads of love to my juniors and my fellow friends. I used to sing this song a lot during my MPS days, so trying to rekindle back the memory. কানে বাজে এখনো পুরনো সে পিয়ানোর ঝংকার, নিকোটিনে হলদে হয়ে যাওয়া 10টায় আঙ্গুল, সারি বেঁধে দাঁড়িয়ে 100 মাইলের গানটা 100 বার শুনেও 100 বার হতো ভুল।
জানলার বাইরে কুয়াশায় সাদা স্কুলটা, পকেটের ভেতরে আধ খাওয়া পাহাড়ি ফল, হাত পেতে বেত খেতে হয়েছে তোমার কাছে কতবার, তবু আমার গানের শুরু মিস্টার হল। If you miss this train I'm on, you will know that I have gone. You can hear a whistle blows 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles. You can hear a whistle blows 100 miles. जब कोई बात बिगड़ जाए, जब कोई मुश्किल पड़ जाए, तुम देना साथ मेरा ओ हमनवा। न कोई है न कोई था जिंदगी में तुम्हारे सिवा, तुम देना साथ मेरा ओ हमनवा। ओ चांदनी जब तक रात देता है हर कोई साथ, तुम मगर अंधेरों में ना छोड़ना मेरा। ओ चांदनी जब तक रात देता है हर कोई साथ, तुम मगर अंधेरों में ना छोड़ना मेरा हाथ। न कोई है न कोई था जिंदगी में तुम्हारे सिवा, तुम देना साथ मेरा वो हमनवा। Not a shot on my back, not a penny to my name, not I can't go back home. These are way, these are way, these are way, these are way, these are way. Lord, I can't go back home. These are way. Lord, I'm one, Lord, I'm two, Lord, I'm three, Lord, I'm four, Lord, I'm 500 miles away from home. Away from home, away from home, away from home, away from home. Lord, I'm 500 miles away from home. Thank you. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for sending this in. It was a lovely, lovely performance, isn't it?
Yes, truly nice. So, next is a song by somebody who was from MPS, and she came a year after I joined the institute, and she was one of the most disciplined lady I have seen, and although a bit reserved but very sweet. She has a kid now as well, and this is a song by Sagarika Raut, and let's enjoy the song.
Please play the song.
हमें याद आएंगे वो कल, याद आएंगे ये पल, हमें याद आएंगे वो कल, याद आएंगे हमने किया यहाँ जो भी किया, रोके कभी हंस के जिया, खुशियाँ कभी गम भी लिया, रोके कभी हंस के जिया ये पल। बरसों जो ख्वाब बुने सच वो आज हुए, बरसों जो ख्वाब बुने सच वो आज हुए, मिल ही गया मंजिल का निशान, अपने सपनों का जहां, छूटे ना ये कारवां, अपने सपनों का जहां, ये पल। शुक्रिया यार शुक्रिया, प्यार जो इतना दिया, शुक्रिया यार शुक्रिया, प्यार जो इतना दिया। आओ मिलके झूमे गाए, छेड़े सरगम को, नगमे बरसाए, मिलके झूमे गाए, मिल ही गया मंजिल का निशान, अपने सपनों का जहां, छूटे ना ये कारवां, अपने सपनों का जहां, ये पल हम याद आएंगे, वो कल याद आएंगे, ये पल हमें याद आएंगे, वो कल याद आएंगे, ये पल।
Thank you so much, Sagarika ma'am. That was really a lovely song.
So next is again a song by Mitrajit Chatterjee. He was an MPS student from passed in 2019 and is currently an assistant professor at Kavi Sukanta Mahavidyalaya, West Bengal.
Please play the video.
হবে কত দিনে মিলন, হবে কত দিনে আমার মনের মানুষের সনে, আমার মনের মানুষের সনে মিলন হবে কত দিনে, মিলন হবে কত দিনে আমার মনের মানুষের সনে, আমার মনের মানুষের সনে। চাতক প্রায় অহর্নিশি চেয়ে আছে কালো শোষী, চাতক প্রায় অহর্নিশি চেয়ে আছে কালো শোষী, হব বলে চরণ দাসী, হব বলে চরণ দাসী। ওটা হয় না কপাল গুনে, ওটা হয় না কপাল গুনে আমার মনের মানুষের সনে, আমার মনের মানুষের সনে মিলন হবে কত দিনে, মিলন হবে কত দিনে আমার মনের মানুষের সনে, আমার মনের মানুষের সনে মেঘের বিদ্যুৎ মেঘেই যেমন লুকালে না পায় অন্বেষণ মেঘের বিদ্যুৎ মেঘেই যেমন লুকালে না পায় অন্বেষণ কালারে হারায় যেমন কালারে হারায় তেমন ওই রূপ হেরিয়ে দর্পণে ওই রূপ হেরিয়ে দর্পণে আমার মনের মানুষের সনে আমার মনের মানুষের
Thank you so much for the performance
and for sending this video.
Yeah.
तो अगला गाना ये 2021 के पास आउट है, एमपीएस किया है इन्होंने इंस्टीट्यूट से और डिस्टेंस से। इन्होंने एक गाना भेजा है और शायद एक बॉलीवुड गाना है। होपफुली आप लोगों को बहुत पसंद आएगा।
So let us play the video.
धूप में तुझसे ठंडक सर्द में तुझसे राहत रूह की तुम शिद्दत हो आह की तुम हो चाहत दवा दवा में तू है जफा जफा में तू है शफा शफा में तू है मेरे खुदा मेरे खुदा मेरे खुदा इश्क सोहबत जैसे नशा इश्क फितरत जैसे वफा ओ हिरिये मेरी सुन जरा है इश्क मेरा सर फेरा फसाना है इश्क मेरा सर फेरा फसाना ओ हिरिये मेरी सुन जरा है इश्क मेरा सर फेरा फसाना थैंक यू
So that was all that we had today. Thank you. We have reached the end of our event, and for now we want to thank each one of you who has taken time in midst of the busy schedule, who have taken time and recorded their videos and sent them in. So
and
thank you
that too
so
in
much.
such a short span of time.
Yes, we just asked for it and you just sent in. So thank you so much for making us feel home and loved. Thank
And
you
we
so
truly know the efforts that one has to put in making a video. Lots of retakes and lots of efforts.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you to all of you and all the audience that joined, all the professors, ex-students. Thank you so much for joining us.
With this, we would like to thank you who all were present there and who made this cultural event a really successful one. We would like to thank our Professor Saeed Unisa, Dr. Sarang Pedgaonkar and Dr. Reshmi RS for their constant help and support. They guided us in every event, especially
Please join us for 8:30.